everybody. Thank you for inviting me to give this talk today. The title of the topic is Clinical Management of Snake Envenomation. First, I would like to thank the organizing committee, especially Dr. Tri Maharani, for allowing me this opportunity to be with you today. So before we start, let us take a look at some of the basic facts regarding snakes. Snakes are actually an equally important component of life in our community and ecosystem. So snakes are one of the top predators, and they are important in order to control the whole ecosystem. So without them, some of the animals below their strata will be can grow uncontrollably and may cause problems to other animals and also to us. So snakes are very important, and so much so that we revered snakes for a very long time, and it has been part of our symbolism. Here, for example, as you can see, in the Inca community, snakes has been regarded as a very sacred animal, and they symbolizes the rebirth of a person or from bad to good. In the Sumerian community, snakes has also been regarded as part of their medicinal properties, medicinal symbol. Here, as you can see, there are two snakes winding each other. This is also currently being used in our current modern symbolism of pharmacy. Here in our religion, we see in Buddhism, a large cobra has appeared in order to protect Buddha when he was reaching nirvana. And also in the Bible, as you can see, the serpent that appeared to Adam and Eve were in the form of a snake. Without them, without this snake, we may not be here on this earth. So here is also, as you can see, a symbol of medicine, where a snake and a staff, which is representing the symbol of the rod of Asclepius, which is a Greek god who was revered for being able to bring back the dead to life. So let's take a look at the current situation in the world. As you can see, snakebite is greatest threat, especially in the tropics. Here you can see in the map, the dark colored areas are the tropical countries, and they have the highest number of snakebite morbidity in the world. There are more than 100 per 100,000 population. As you can see, some parts of Australia as well, which is Queensland, subtropical country, and they also have a very high number of snake bites. And regarding the death from snake bite, the highest mortality is actually from Southeast Asia, and this is actually higher than even Africa. And you can see here the numbers showing 15,000 to 57,000 per annum in Southeast Asia alone, and in Africa is between 3,000 to 32,000 per annum. This is just an estimation, but in terms of death, we still feel they are still underreported. Therefore, a lot of these cases, as you can see in Africa, are still being managed by community and never reach the hospital. Therefore, the death rate may not be registered. Similarly, in South Africa and Southeast Asia. So, what about Malaysia? From Malaysia, and even though Malaysia is in the tropical country, is a tropical country, so far our rates of snake bite is relatively moderate compared to, for example, India or Myanmar or Thailand. In Malaysia, the rate is between 400 to 350 bites per 100,000 populations per year. However, even though this number is relatively high, it is still not being taken as a notifiable disease. So what can I say is that even though we have a lot of cases of snake bites, the number of published data or research from these areas in the tropical countries are still relatively low. Therefore, we have to think of increasing our research so that we have the data for making important decisions and hopefully increase the awareness about snakebite envenoming. Okay, so because of this high number of death and morbidity, WHO has recently announced that snakebite envenoming is actually a public health emergency. It's one of the most neglected tropical disease. As we can see earlier, there are not many research or studies done on clinical research on snake bites. This poses a lot of issues and challenges. So we have to take up these challenges in order to improve ourselves, especially in our region, the Southeast Asia region, including Indonesia. So in today's topic, I was asked to give you the title of "Did We Do Wrong?" I think this is actually it's not an important question, but what is more important is to ask this question: what should we do? Rather than looking at looking for faults, we should be actually asking more positive way is what can we do in order to improve ourselves. So the first thing is to have knowledge and experience, and following that we have to expand this knowledge and experience through research and share with the other in the community, and also transferring of knowledge and also know-how in order to improve other communities. So this is the three main things that we should do. So the first issue that we have to tackle is about species identification. This is the main challenge, especially for healthcare providers who are not aware of the species in their own countries, and most of them refer to the internet for sources of information, and this may not be relevant to their country. So for Southeast Asia snake species, we can generally divide them into two big groups, which are the front fang group, means snakes with front fang. And as we know, those with front fang are those which are equipped with venom gland, and they are using this in order to kill or apprehend their prey and to defend themselves. The other big group of snake species are called the non-front fang group. This is the largest part of the snake community. However, not all of them are not dangerous. So some of them are considered as also having secretions which can cause problems to humans, and also maybe some without venom can also cause danger to humans by strangling them. Example, the pythons. Okay, so identifying snake can be challenging, and a reliable reference is actually very important. As I have mentioned earlier, random info seeking from the internet can be disastrous and can be misleading as well. Therefore, those who are very early or very, how should I say, very new in the field of clinical toxinology may have to refer to those who are more familiar, and also from relevant verified information. So these are some of the characteristics that we think that can help us in identifying snakes: the color of the snakes, scales and scale counts. Obviously, these are not for the faint at heart, because you should not be handling snakes. Knowing the geographical distribution and locality of where the incident happened can help identify the snake, whether it's by the sea, on the tree, on the ground, etc., on the mountain. Okay, so, and also the behavior. Some snakes have certain behaviors that is very particular to their species, and also knowing some of their habitat. So this is just a reminder again, be careful when you are searching online for pictures of snake for ID. Some of them can be inappropriate, wrongly labeled, and actually just not occurring in your region. We recommend for you to look for more relevant information and reference. These are some of the references which I recommend. For Indonesia, we have recently published a book by Riza Marlon, 107 Ula Indonesia. Snakes of Borneo is a second edition, which is actually a better content in terms of pictures and also the writing inside. Our main reference for Southeast Asia is actually by Prof. Indranil Das, good friend of mine, Snake of Southeast Asia, and also there are many others. WHO also came up with a guideline on snakebite management. In that there are pictures of snakes for identification, but be careful when you are using this because it also refers to snakes from the whole Southeast Asia. So be careful when you are referencing this type of big references. It may not be relevant to you have to choose the ones which are relevant for your region. So we have to understand that indigenous medically important snake species must be identified and verified. It's not just identified, but must be verified from people who are familiar with snake identification. Example, biologists, taxonomists, and even some medical clinical toxinologists. So snakes can be identified either from the actual specimen that was brought, most likely dead, but we have experienced patients bringing live snakes to us for identification. That can be very, very tricky and challenging as well. Doctors don't really handle snakes, so that's why we have to have link or networking with people who handle snakes in order to better handle the snake without harming the snake. Or we can have pictures of the actual snake. So these are the only two ways of actually saying snake identification is verified. So with mobile technology, we can actually help identify snake. You can take a good picture of the snake and send to the experts, and they can give you a positive identification. So therefore, I would like to recommend a close cooperation with the experts in the field, with herpetologists here, the taxonomists here, and the biologists. So it's not only working in silos. So now the biologists, taxonomists, herpetologists have actually an avenue to expand their knowledge and their expertise to the medical field. And I hope those doctors in the medical fraternity will take up this opportunity to link up and create good networking with our experts. Second issues is about obtaining detailed history of the incident. This is very important because a good clinician is like a good detective. As you can see, I put up here a picture of Sherlock Holmes. He always asks the appropriate question. This is very important for young doctors especially, to know what question to ask in order for you to obtain the appropriate information. Then you must have a keen eyes for details and also look for clues. So these are some of the questions which we have elicit from our experience that will be able to help us identify or make decision in terms of history taking. This is an example. As next step after dating history is to take a picture of the bite site. Now, can bite site determine the species of snake? Just by looking at bite site, can we determine whether This is from a bite from a cobra, or a bite from a pit viper, or a bite from a python. So, can we ID the snake species from the bite marks? So, obviously, one must use a vivid imagination in order to identify snake just from the bite mark, because two fang marks or two bite marks on the skin may not tell you the species of the snake. So please do not take skin marks as only for snake bite. There are other animals may bite a person and they did not see the animal biting them, and there are two marks, and it may not even animal that caused the marks. Someone may have just walked and hit two nails on a wood, and it appears as two puncture wounds, and that is not a bite from snakes. So the third issues that I would like to tell or to discuss is, in order for us to complete our management of patient, we have to examine for the potential effects of snake bite and envenoming. And this is actually one example. As you can see, the bite marks on the hand. This obviously subject the patient to more danger from secondary infection from the expose of the skin and underlying tissues. This is actually a bite from python. But most of what our concern here today is about venom. So not all snakes has venom. So what is venom? Definition of venom is it's a complex substance, mostly proteins, produced in specialized gland, and they are delivered through a specialized apparatus, and we have identified this apparatus as the fangs. And these substances are deleterious or can be dangerous to other organisms in a given dosage. Okay, means that the higher the concentration, the higher the more severe the effect of the venom. And these substances must be actively used in the process of obtaining prey or food, and to digest the prey, and some of them use it to defend themselves. So components of snake venom, as we have agreed, it's very complex. This is the subject for research in the research toxinology. But knowing some of these components will help us to anticipate the potential symptoms and signs and syndromes. So we are better prepared, and we are less surprised if somebody presents to us with a patient presented with certain signs and symptoms. So knowing this can actually help us better manage the patient. The fourth issue is about first aid. Now this is actually still widely a contentious issue, especially in the public, in the rural areas, where people are still using traditional unverified methods, which can actually cause more harm rather than being beneficial. And a lot of our community, our population read books which are not verified in terms of first aid, or even watch movies where people, a hero seeing a heroine bitten by a snake, go and suck the wound in order to save the heroine. So all this has actually captured the imagination of our public to practice things which are not actually relevant or can be even dangerous. Here you can see a man, a patient of ours. He not just tourniquet himself several bounds on the arm, but he also tourniqueted the king cobra. Okay, so public awareness is vital, and also for healthcare providers too. So our universal recommendation for all snake bite, if it is not known what snake it is to just simply immobilize the limb and reduce movement, and this can actually help reduce the spread of venom. Okay, so another method that we recommend, but with practice and training, is pressure bandaging and immobilization. This requires some training using an elasticized bandage, and also application of the bandage with some pressure. Number 5, the issue that we feel that need to be discussed is close serial observation and test. Now, this is relevant in terms of confirming the bite by the snake, and also to see the progress of patients who are envenomed by a snake. What we recommend is to observe for pain score. As we know, pain can be subjective, therefore we need to quantify them using a pain score, either using a chart or using a ruler, in order for patient to quantify the pain. Now, pain is not an indication for someone to be given antivenom, but pain can be used to gauge the severity of the envenoming, and if you were to treat the patient, the pain should be actually reduced. Therefore, serial progression of pain need to be documented. The other one that we recommend is to measure for the rate of proximal progression of the edema. Some of the bite, actually most of the bite by pit vipers and even cobras, cause significant swelling, and therefore by measuring the progression proximally at a fixed time interval, you can actually use this to gauge the severity and to gauge whether someone requires antivenom or not, or even to see the response to antivenom given. Now, serial picture recorded time and date is actually invaluable. You have to actually take a serial picture nowadays. Everybody has the capability to take pictures with their mobile phone, and as you can see here, we can see the actual progression of envenoming locally of a child bitten 3 times by a cobra. As you can see, over time the tissue becomes more necrotic, and also provide us the information about whether this child requires antivenom or not. Now, another method of serially observing the patient is by using blood tests. This one we recommend especially for those in the rural area without any other laboratory capability. This is what we call the 20-minute whole blood clotting test. It's simply to check whether someone is having systemic coagulopathy secondary to a bite by or envenom by pit viper. That's all it gives, the information. There's nothing to see whether this test will determine the species of snake or not. So this is a simple test can be practiced, especially those in the rural area, to give some idea that someone is systemically envenomed by a pit viper. This class is regarding treatment. Now, all actions requires valid indication and justification, and there's no such thing as a prophylaxis treatment for snake bite. Okay, so these practices is not based on whether you feel afraid someone may not wake up in the morning, or whether you feel that someone may have envenomation. No, there are always a clear indication for every management that we want to do for snake bite patient. And this must be supported, obviously, by knowledge and evidence. Therefore, our recommendation for close observation of patient, the serial parameters, is actually very, very important. Other issues that in the treatment that is relatively important to discuss are the use of steroid, analgesia, antibiotics, when to give, antihistamine, is there a role for antihistamine snake bite, anti-tetanus toxoid, when should we give anti-tetanus, and surgical intervention. Now, all these are very big issues which may not be able to be covered within this topic, perhaps in our further discussion after this. Now, regarding antivenom, it is actually important to apply appropriate and timely adequate antivenom. Not all patients require antivenom. Therefore, close observation of the serial parameters will help us determine whether a patient requires antivenom or not. And there is no such thing as one antivenom for all patients. Okay. Now, every antivenom that is used actually manufactured either it is specific for one species or can be specific for several species, but still they are specific. Therefore, there is no such thing as what you call wholesome antivenom yet. So here you can see some of the antivenom relevant for our region are actually produced by QSMI, Queen Sawoba Memorial Institute in Thailand, in Bangkok, and from Indonesia we have anti-bisa ular polyvalent or SABU, which are produced here in Bandung, and also for the sea snakes, the antivenom for sea snake is only produced by Australia. Now, the process in managing snake bite is actually relatively clear-cut. From the snake bite itself, first is to identify the snake, to see what are the systemic and local signs. First, we have to observe for this, and to decide whether someone is requiring antivenom or further observation and investigation. Now, snakebite envenoming is primarily a medical specialty. It's not a surgical specialty or orthopedic specialty. Okay, so best is to be managed by the physicians, and if required later on, as you can see, as the patient progress, whether they require surgical intervention care, and most of the time surgical intervention is just for debridement of the necrotic tissue at a later stage, not at the acute stage. Overcoming these limitations, we have actually require governmental support. This is actually a single most important factor. So because antivenom, for example, is very expensive and requiring governmental intervention in order to import them. Okay, if we are not producing them, then for example in Malaysia we do not produce antivenom, we have to import all of our antivenom, and therefore governmental support in order to provide the best healthcare in our country is very vital. In terms of knowledge transfer and research, we have organized what we call AMSAM, Advanced Marine Animal and Snake Envenoming Management, or will be named as ASEAN Marine Animal Snake Envenoming Management Initiatives. These are a group of people who are expert in the field, and we come together and come up with a guideline for healthcare providers. This is actually for healthcare providers in Malaysia, which are available online for free through the Malaysian Society of Toxinology blogspot. And we hope that we are in the process of actually coming up with guideline for Indonesia, maybe for Thailand and other countries in this region. These are works of people who are actually coming from Southeast Asia. We also came up with image gallery, as we identified earlier. Not all healthcare providers are proficient in identifying snakes, and this is actually one way of helping them to identify land snake of medical significance. Okay, rather than knowing all the snakes, it's actually more easier to know which snakes are dangerous to us. These are less in number, therefore less difficulty in remembering them. for the past 3 years. Started in Malaysia, and so far we have expanded to Indonesia. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week voluntary on-call to support for those in need, especially the medical professionals when they have patients, snakebite patients coming to them. The objective is to optimize management, to advocate appropriate, safe treatment modalities, and to enhance favorable outcome. This is another effort that we use in order to overcome the issues is by creating continuous educational programs. So through Malaysian Society on Toxinology, we have come up with several programs in terms of increasing the knowledge and awareness about snakebite management at all levels, not just for healthcare providers, but also to the public. So this is an example that some of the courses that we conduct. First one is an essential introduction to snakes, venom, and envenomation. This is mainly open for the public and also medical students. And then we have the Extended Continuous Medical Education ECME1 overview of snakebite envenoming in Malaysia. This is actually CME programs that we do in hospitals for healthcare providers, for example, for doctors, even for medical students, pharmacists, and doctors from other specialties, nurses, and also paramedics. A more popular course that we conduct is called Snakebite Envenoming Management. This is a one-day course being performed by at least 2 or 3 REX consultant upon invitation by the organizers. It can be from the hospital or even for the state, and even the last one we had was in Kuala Lumpur, was organized by Malaysian Society on Toxinology. So this is a very comprehensive, hands-on, very interactive session. To get a lot more people who are interested in the field to come together, the experts in the field, and also the general healthcare providers to discuss on this platform of what we call MSAM. And the last MSAM was the third MSAM was conducted in Kuala Lumpur in 2014. We hope to organize again in 2016. And you can obtain all our programs through the Malaysian Society on Toxinology website. Okay. So in terms of the topic today, clinical management of snakebite envenomation, let's do it right. With that, I thank you. The topic is a very broad general overview on how snakebite should be managed well, and this is actually a very important subject, and but not many people are exposed to this topic yet. So that's why this topic is very important, and it is timely that we have this topic being discussed today. I have to say that even in this modern era, we still have very poor awareness in terms of the correct or appropriate management on snakebite, especially first aid by the public. We still have people coming in the hospital after bitten by a snake. They apply inappropriate techniques of first aid. For example, the commonest one is applying tourniquet or tying up the limb which is bitten or even some of them still do cut and suck, meaning that they cut with a sharp knife or a blade across the bite marks, and they either suck the blood out or express with their hand or massage the area. And all this actually can cause more harm to the wound and actually expose the person to infection and also pain. Therefore, these practices should not be applied anymore. So we hope that the public will be more open to the appropriate techniques, which is very simple. It's just immobilize the limb, which is bitten, and bring to the hospital as soon as possible. My advice is actually for all healthcare providers managing a snake bite case to first get the appropriate knowledge and information, and all this must be verified and appropriate for their practice. So for example, we in Malaysia, our management for snake bite is for Malaysian snakes. We can't actually apply the management for snake bite from the US or from Australia because they have different species of snakes. Therefore, those are inappropriate for our practice. That's why it's very important to develop our own guideline and also our own ways of managing snake bite. And this can be obtained through the Malaysian Society on Toxinology, which is our reference point for management and also information for the management of snake bite in our country. My advice is very simple. First, do no harm to patients. If you want to do good things, you must have some knowledge and get your knowledge from the appropriate source. That's it. And also, of course, we have now the remote envenomation consultation service. This is actually a voluntary service provided by experts in the field for those who are actually in need in terms of managing snakebite patients. So you are not standing alone in managing patients. So we are there from the beginning, if you were to call us early, until even up to the stage where patient is being discharged. So we are there to provide the advice, provide the optimal management guideline, and also to give advice in terms of the appropriate management, in terms of treatment for antivenom, or even when to discharge the patient and what to do even after the patient is discharged. I would say this is a relatively isolated area because this topic has been neglected for a very long time. Believe it or not, Malaysia started very early on looking at these issues of snake bite, and during the British occupation, we contributed a lot in terms of knowledge in, for example, sea snake envenomation. And we were the basis for the development for antivenom for sea snakes, which is now being done in Australia. But over the years, these issues has been put aside somehow or other and forgotten and neglected. So this is only recently that we want to bring back this topic into the mainstream, because the threat to patients are real, and we see a lot of mismanagement being performed, and this is just not, how should I say, it's not fair for the patients, and it's not fair for our doctors as well, because of inadequate knowledge and also the support that they should get. Therefore, the reason why we feel a lot of courses that we conduct will be able to help the doctors and also the patients and the public. and with REX, we hope this will be a value added to the support that is required in this topic in Malaysia.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.